And then on December 16th came the final adaptation from 1994, our next video game to feature the Haunted Mansion, a game released only in Japan for the Super Famicom, whose title translates as Mickey's Grand Adventure in Tokyo Disneyland. This is a game where Mickey has to gather all his friends for the big show, navigating platform levels based on Tokyo Disneyland attractions using both helium and water balloons. The Haunted Mansion level starts off immediately with more recognizable mansion iconography than Adventures in the Magic Kingdom did by showing us a stretching room portrait. And it's actually a squash and stretch portrait. Okay, that's not the way those portraits stretch, but the spirit is there, and in this first part of the mansion, Mickey has to go up, which I actually think is a pretty clever way of adapting the feeling of the stretching room to a game mechanic in a side-scroller. There's no hanging body at the top, just a ghost below you that will catch you if you fail, which I learned from bitter experience because I'm bad at video games. Fortunately, if this ghost gets you, you don't lose a life, only one health point, but you do have to start over from the bottom of the stretching room. Then there's the Hall of Doors, and each door leads to another passage where you have to do something. One of the passages is yet another tall climbing thing, because Tokyo didn't have a Tower of Terror yet, so they had to put all their tall bits into the Haunted Mansion. You have to race this ghost up to the top of the stairs to get to the door before he blocks it, and you have to land on these buttons to open the stairs while he just gets to float up to the top. It's tedious and frustrating. But if you beat him to that door, you enter the library, where the watchful busts are just kind of minding their own business, so I want to leave them alone, but the door is locked and there's nothing else in this room, so I guess I gotta attack them. And when I do, books fall on me and hurt me. Okay. When I attack a bust, I can move under his ledge so the books don't hit me, but if I'm under his ledge when he's finally defeated, he might hurt me on his way out. Complicated. Anyway, once you defeat them all, the door opens and you push this button on this machine. Then you go back to the entrance, back down the stairs, back to the Hall of Doors for another passage. This one's got knights you can either defeat or avoid, then you gotta navigate this little underground tunnel without falling in a bottomless pit and dying of starvation. Then you gotta trigger both these buttons at the same time to open the door, which requires 2 water balloons, and is probably not actually that tricky to get timing-wise, but it was for me because I suck at video games. But you make it into the door, into the next hallway, which is just loaded with knights, but you run to the end, open another door, trigger another machine, and try to make it back without dying. I failed. Fortunately, continuing from a game over did not send me back to the bottom of the stretching room, just the corridor of doors. But I did have to redo the parts I already did, which was obnoxious. Then I gave up on this game and just watched a video on YouTube. So it looks like the next passage had paintings and doors that fall, then you go into a hall with bad guys in disguise as treasure chests, and a button on the ceiling. Then that opens the door to the room with real treasure chests and another machine. Then one last tall room where you have to tediously balloon your way up until you get to a ledge, go in a door, go in another door, and you're in the seance room. And then you have to throw water balloons at Madame Leota, and I don't love the idea of fighting her, but I like that the floating instruments are like her shield. That's a fun way to adapt ride iconography to a game mechanic. Anyway, once she disappears, the door opens, another machine. Once you've triggered all 4 machines, the door that let you in now leads you out to the graveyard, which has, ghosts floating around and some popping up behind headstones. That one might be the Beating Heart Bride, it's hard to tell. Then you make it through and you throw water balloons at Ghost Pete. And that's the mansion level. I like the aesthetics of this game, the visuals are great, the mansion looks so fun rendered into these graphics. This looks much better than Adventures in the Magic Kingdom's mansion level, but the gameplay here is even more tedious. I got mild enjoyment out of the balloon mechanic, but only mild, and each task to progress through the mansion was just frustrating. Clearly, I am not a hardcore enough gamer to handle commercials for theme parks starring Mickey Mouse designed for children.
So hurry back, we would like your company.